Updates on Orchard 1. Sorry. What did Benedict do this week?
It's not just me, fortunately.
It's not me. I merge the PRs. And I comment on issues.
Yeah. To answer your question, not much, unfortunately.
Sorry.
There were client projects.
Taxonomy is fixing taxonomy localization extensions cause terms to be saved as draft when changing their weight. Fixes, blah, 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 so it's merged. Then projection rewrite output bool property of a layout property migrated to tokenized condition text that we merged also on Thursday. So now you can tokenize the rewrite output well. There is no more rewrite output, there is rewrite output condition, which is tokenized.
Yeah, so you previously had the rewrite output text, which is a tokenized field, and it was applied if you check a checkbox. So instead of a checkbox, you now have another tokenized field where you can define a condition. So if you just type true, it will have the same effect as the checkbox previously. But now you have a lot more options.
Okay. And the default value is true.
Default value is empty, basically, which will do nothing. But if you had the checkbox checked previously, it will automatically migrate.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. I think that's why we don't have projections in core, because it's lots of weird things.
Well, yes, but it's a lot of weird things that can be used in awesome ways. So.
I remember when I demoed the first time this feature, Orchard 1.3. I remember in which building I was and which office. It was great because this was the first time we had such a thing that you can customize on the admin how to render lists and everything. So powerful. Like the views module in Drupal. And but in the end, from experience, web devs, they are fine with a template, like a liquid template, let's say. In the admin. That's as powerful as a projection like this. Not as simple, but I mean, we have to expect a minimum set of requirements in terms of knowledge for a web developer. And nothing prevents to have a kind of like a projection module in OrchardCore either. But the issue is that by using that, and this is why you made this property, by using that, it's simple at first, and then you can have what you want in 90% of the cases, and then you want something very specific, like, no, but I just want to rewrite if this condition is true. And then you're like, you can't do that. So you can't use the feature at all because you require to be able to do that. So then you stop using it, and you have to rewrite everything in a template. So much more work done. The cliff when you hit the cliff when you advance in your progression, and then you can't progress anymore. Then you have to jump to something else.
Yeah, that's true. And that's also true for HQL and a couple of other things in projections. But on the other hand, I think we use projections in almost every kind of project.
That's good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, but that's the issue. It can be limiting sometimes. That's my concern. That's why we went on SQL and we didn't try to abstract anything with custom languages. So you can write SQL if you want. You can create tables if you want. You have documents, but you can write SQL and custom tables. The same way we expose SQL queries in the admin, even though we have the same limitation because it's a custom SQL language. And also we have the templates in the admin, so we can just write liquid. Just write what you want and done. So to just mix the projection things between SQL queries or Lucene queries and custom templates usually can solve all the issues very easily. But yeah, maybe. Okay, good. Improvements and projections. Then contents handler now initializes the display text to the content items content type. Yep, the idea being that in some admin screens, when you don't have a title part, there is nothing to provide a display text. So now what you did is just, if there is nothing, just take the content type value and there won't be blanks. Yep. So in Orchard Core, we used to have the metadata display text, also like in Orchard 1. And then I decided, and nobody complained, that let's make a property on the content item, because every content item should have a display text and it could be settable. This way we can depend on the display text to do queries and ordering and things like this. It's funny because 2 weeks ago or last week someone was like, well, I would like to be able to provide a contextualized display text. I like to change it dynamically. I don't know for what it was, but someone asked for it. And I was like, yeah, it makes sense in this context, but we removed it because there were some issues with that. So, yeah. Display text. There is no perfect solution. Let's stop doing CMSs. It's useless. So Orchard. So that's it for Orchard 1. Thank you, Benedek. And thank you everyone from Laser, because they're also doing a lot of work on that still. And what do we have here? I can't even click on that because there will be like 200 commits. I don't know what happened, but everyone this weekend, look at that. This is just one day, okay? Well, at the same time, we have Hisham that is now working on OrchardCore, like full time, doing many things. So what do we have? 7 days. Yeah, so Jasmine is starting to listen to Jean-Thierry. Not sure it's a good thing, because Jasmine thought he knew how to program, and now Jean-Thierry is telling him, no, don't do that this way. I don't even want to look at it. I will look at the end because I will say no, remove that. Just skipping. Okay, here. Carl, we manage a PR increase GraphQL default max depth. Yes, because this change that is fixing here was breaking GraphQL. Because by default our schemas are more complex than 10 levels. So he put 50. This is a README, but I think the default is 20. 20. Okay, content fields indexing. We merged it. We merged it. So now you can execute SQL queries on field values, like exactly the same way, kind of exactly the same way what projections is doing in Orchard 1. Because projection is not just about defining dynamic queries and filters. It's about one sec.
I'm chatting with Brian. If you think
yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry. What did I say? Yeah, projection was referring due to query, and it was also indexing all the fields into custom tables for querying. And now we have content field indexing, which is doing the same thing. So you can query your fields. And we saw a demo last week from Jasmine. So it's merged. Difference being that we have a table per field type instead of per physical type, like strings. No, it's per field type now, which is kind of better in some ways. Editor direction should respect the localization part culture. So everything that is editable, like text fields or anything, title part, will now be configured to use whatever the content item's culture is. You see here there is a helper method, get content culture async for a content item, and then it will call into an aspect, a localizable aspect or culture aspect, I don't remember which one it is, culture aspect, which will provide the culture info of the content item, And if you have the localization module, it will set it using the one of the content item culture part, localization part. Otherwise, it will use the default culture of the site. So beautiful. And now the text fields, they will be in the correct direction. And someone filed an issue about that this morning. So either they are not using the latest, or there is an issue with that. Add properties dictionary to IShape interface. Thank you, Dean. So the idea is that we decided we should provide the same way we have a classes set of values, a attribute set of values, a shape like a template has or a view as a view bag will have a properties bag that you can put anything on a shape. And you can do it in Orchard 1 and Orchard Core when the shape is a dynamic object. In Orchard 1, it's always like this. You can assign any property dynamically by accessing the property of the dynamic object. But in Orchard Core, we have the notion of IShape because many things can be a shape, even strongly typed shapes. But now we decided that even those will have a property bag called properties. If you want to set dynamically on a shape, some properties that will flow on the template. Okay, so now it's the first class behavior that we can reuse everywhere. And then with that, there are liquid filters that are coming. I'm not sure I've merged that. Did I merge it? It's either Dino or Jean-Philippe who did it. I don't remember.
Yeah, we merged it, I think.
Thank you. So I will see that later. To set the properties from liquid templates, because from Razor file, it's easy. You have access to the shape and you do dot properties equals something. Beautiful. Jean-Thierry, some menu tweaks. He fixed the menu in the admin. Complex stuff. Let's trust him. I think that's my file an issue and Jean-Thierry fixed it. Apply cache control headers to non-resized image or other assets served from the media file store with a static file middleware. Because media files can come from many different ways, and there was one possibility that we missed, and it was not setting the files correctly. For instance, SVG files were not set in terms of cache control headers, because it's an image, but image resizer was saying, nope, I can't resize that, and then it was served by the static file middleware, but not correctly assigned the cache control. So now it's done. And it's done, and so let me react on the implication of that change, concrete implication. If I go there, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but I love how Dodi G is doing that. So if I look at Dodi implementation note for traditional CMS, reminder that he did that for decoupled CMS. So he's just created an issue where he put comments, questions about his experience writing a new website, what he's learning and when he's blocked learning, like he says, I can't find anything about that, how do I do that? Or when he learned things by himself that he finds very useful, like this one, this instant preview feature while modifying template is super sweet. I agree. So you can change a template and see dynamically. And this is where also he mentioned the SVG issue when it was fixed, and then he tested the score of his website. Not here. Oh, not here. It was on the SVG issue then. Let me check SVG.
I was there. It was one of the first comments.
So I'm wrong. SVG. Uncached. Oh, there is the link to the issue. But what I wanted to see is, nope. So what?
Oh, it's the issue called thank you.
He created an issue, thank you?
Yes.
Oh, that's bad. You create issue to insult people, not to say thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure if I open the chat, someone will have posted the link. Thank you.
No, he closed it. He closed it. It's not open.
Ah, that's why I couldn't find it. So yeah, he said that. So that's what before the change from Dean and after the change. So apparently the 3% was just because the SVG files were not cached with the correct header. So now he's got the 100%, so he's happy. And yeah, you could say, well, if you can manage your HTML, you can always get 100%, but no, in this case, we were serving the file without the correct cache header. So there was nothing he could do to go to 100. Now it can be in 100 because we are not in the way of that. So that's good. silverkeytech.com. Oh, maybe that's the old site, silverkeytech.com, the one with the decoupled way. Yeah, the one decoupled way that he created before that, and he shared it with us. It looks like decoupled with the topics, which looks like taxonomies. Yes. And I don't know how it does that. Maybe a custom view. Yes, these tags are the things here. So they're actually taxonomy items, I think, because it's hierarchical. The only issue that you see here is that the URL contains the term ID. So you must have a custom controller to do that. At the same time, we still see the, yeah, so it's funny because I assume made a custom route. That's an interesting technique. I like it. Let me show you. So the thing with this URL is that blog topic, okay, let's say it's a taxonomy name. So you created a route with that. That's interesting. Maybe we could do something like this automatically. Maybe we should. So I didn't think about it. So my concern with taxonomy terms and the default routes like this to display the list is that a term is a content item ID and doesn't have a route. You can't customize a route because it's not accessible directly. And I have an issue and a branch to try to solve that. But here what it's doing is that here is the ID of the term inside the taxonomy. So it's a lookup in the taxonomy document to find the term. And in the but this is not SEO friendly, okay? So if we just have that, it's not SEO friendly. But what it's doing then is also adding in a route the text so that it's SEO friendly. And let's try something. You see, it still works, which means the route is, here is an ID and then any text. But when it generates the URL for a term, it generates the display text. So it's not depending on that to find the taxonomy. It's depending on this ID. It's just rendering in this link this, the term name, so that for SEO it will be fine. You see what I mean? And it's, I think there are some CMSs that do the same thing. I can't remember what. I think for something like Google News, you must have an ID and then you can, somewhere in the URL, but you can pass anything else you want. Like, yeah, maybe that's something like that. Yeah, and that's easy to implement actually. That's why I'm saying maybe we should do it by default, like we do in Orchard 1, so that we have a custom controller for the taxonomies that will match the term ID and whatever is behind. But when we render the URL, we can provide action URL for a taxonomy term that will generate a URL like this. That's doable. Awesome. Yeah, that's super. That's not super beautiful, but that's a good way to do that. Interesting. Okay, so just saying that this site has been updated with the fix from Dean. Back to the issues. Modifying alert comment when, no, this is just a branch. Taxonomy field required validation doesn't work with unique option. Taxonomy field required validation doesn't work with unique option. So if you had a unique, it will not validate correctly. So he fixed the validation. Good job. I think it was their first PR. Oh, that's them. That's PM. That's or PyMP, whatever. That's the guy who complains. Is that it? Is that the user who complained that we didn't have a Chinese documentation?
No, I think he was the guy that helped out the user that complained about that.
Okay, sorry, I'm confused then. Okay. Maybe, okay. Yeah. Clean double encoding. Clean double encoding. From Isham, let's see, index. I don't remember this one. This looks good. And here, looks good. Yeah, it's using the tag helper instead of the action link because of the double encode. Yes, every time you have an action link with a localized thing, it will be double encoded because the action link only accepts a string. So here we need to get a string from the translation, which will be encoded, and then action link will also encode it. Unlike the tag helper, that will take whatever we pass, and if it will render that as is, and so it will be encoded once. Good. Then this is a branch. So shall I follow the left one? Yes. This is a branch. Is it? Yeah, it's a fix from Jasmine. Make content fields indexing require OrchardCore.ContentFields. Yeah, I think in the manifest it was saying depends on content types, but no, it doesn't depend on content type. Fields already depend on content type. What it needs is that only work if the fields module is enabled. So require feature. Then big jump, show hide external logins in SaaS recipe using, so apparently we have a link in the SaaS recipe to display the external logins we have set up with that, and now it's just not showing the link if there is no external login. Polish tenant page to make it nicer, and yeah. So, and my only concern is that all this custom bootstrap code that I don't understand. So before accepting new PRs like this, I've accepted a bunch of them already. I need to understand why. Why call Excel 3, MB Excel N1? Does it really matter? Because we don't do much stuff in terms of formatting. It's very simple. So I need to understand why we need just this margin for Excel, and why 3 only in Excel, and then if we go just lower than Excel, like large, it will be then 12 because we don't set it. So all these things that concerns. So we'll see, remove RTL generation from front-end related assets from DIN, because apparently we were generating the RTL versions also in the front-end assets that we have in the resources. Fix typo on GitHub menus. Big PR to change the GitHub name with an H, uppercase H everywhere. The files here are not, this file for instance is not updated. Change model namespace everywhere. Sham for, yeah, the model now becomes models everywhere. Then Prettify Features page, same change like with HTML changes to make it consistent and nicer. Prettify recipe pages, updating fluid because there was a bug. A bug in what? Datetime, I think. Was it datetime? Yeah, datetime has an issue. WidgetsListPart. Existing widgets are removed due to Null Zone. So there was an issue this morning about WidgetsListPart, and I'm not sure if we should be able to reuse it or if it's just for bags and flows. But this is fixing the insert button. Then apparently we have from Antoine a non-squashed merge. Antoine, you should know better.
Yes. What?
I see a non-squashed merge to dev. Aha.
When I clicked on merge, I had a warning. I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's a mistake. That's okay. That happens. But it should be squashed. And this way it's a straight line like this. And not a commit, which is merged into a dev. Because we have two commits now for the same thing. You see?
Mm-hmm.
Update build dependencies plus npm plus build. Okay. So this one, import jquery-ui-override into the admin. Okay. So too many changes. CultureInfo to liquid template context because it was missing since the last PR. Text area part not using submitted form value, fixed from Peter. Use bootstrap configure model in assets page. Did I merge it? I merged it. I know there is one PR that Matthias has some comments on about that. So I don't think I merged this one. Permission to content culture pick your setting so it appears correctly in the admin menu. Access to dynamic reusable part because some alternates were generated for the dynamic parts. Update Https and Reverse Proxy settings order. Add user arguments to logging events. So when you implement the logging events now, you know what user logged in. Before you could not know. Customize bootstrap configure model. Same thing as before, using strongly typed content type setting. Because Dean mentioned that we were just storing strings all the time, even for booleans, and I checked the code and yes, we were just taking, well, for these ones at least, we were doing a toString, so now it's fixed. Prettify content types, Prettify content parts, Azure Blob with resizing, merged, like 200 files, but now it's in. Fix view multi-select issue with widgets. The script is executed in an unexpected moment, and then we decided with Jean-Philippe that we need actually to create an event for the widgets to know when they are added, so they know if they have to run, they can do something if they have to run some JavaScript to initialize themselves, instead of relying on the fact that the script will only be executed once for all the widgets. So we might need to change some things there, like all the widgets. But it will be better this way. We won't have to, we might not have to inject all the scripts for all the widgets all the time. We might still need that, like the single time scripts, but for the things that need to be run for every new widget, we will be able to register to a specific event. Liquid filter and tags to mutate shape properties. Yep, so from Jean-Philippe, because we have properties now on all shapes, now we can set properties on shapes. README like shape new with some custom properties, or shape new shape properties using the filter or the tag shape add properties, blah blah blah. Thank you. And remove also. Then you upgrade ImageSharp to beta 9 because perf improvements from Marco on ImageSharp. And use proper BS for classes for the logging. Remember me checkbox from Jasmin. All good. Questions? What did I miss? I missed that Jean-Philippe cannot set up his machine. So I will show you what Hicham has done on the translation repository. So on this repository, OrchardCore translations, I think we talked about it a few weeks earlier. Oh, I changed the project, so maybe nope. What have you broken? Or someone has broken something. But we have unit test. So this one, nicely dev, OrchardCore branch dev, branch master. What? Why is, oh, because maybe it never built in master and this branch doesn't exist anymore. Okay, we need to fix it. But what's happening now is that, so Crowdin sends pull requests to this repository whenever there is a new translation available. Okay, so it creates new commits with every change, and then Abeyor will build the changes, like, oh, there is a new, you see, new strings in the German repository. So apparently someone worked on the German translations, and it adds commits with every change. But the POT files here are probably because the list of strings have changed. And then so there is continuous checks here that will build some NuGet packages. And then when we merge this branch, which is created by Crowdin, to the dev branch, this is what this branch is, the dev branch. So it merges all the localization files here, and also the POT files are there, but Crowdin merges all the PO files here. Okay, so we have the localization folder with all the cultures for each module. Okay, and at that point the CI will create, so if I click there, the CI creates NuGet packages for each language. Okay, a NuGet package that only contains the localization file for this language. And we have n NuGet packages that are sent to the artifacts folder. And then automatically with this CI script, we publish this template, this NuGet package to myget when it's a dev branch. This way we are always up to date. So it's also prefixed with a beta 3 like we have on the dev branch. And then once we merge it to the master branch, it will move to NuGet.org. So right now on the feed of the OrchardCore preview feed on myget that you are using, if you are using dev branch on OrchardCore, you also have access to the translation packages for any language, and also a meta package .all that points to all the other languages. So in theory, if you just point to .all, you can translate your admin in any language automatically by just adding it as a supported language. And what I would like to suggest is to add this package to the default CMS meta package that we have for OrchardCore. Not the core targets that contains CMS features but not theme, and I assume we should not also include any localization files here, but for the CMS package we might want to add a reference to this translation package. I'm not sure if we should point to a specific value. If we do a dot star, it will try to resolve it, I assume, on every build. It might be okay. We have to try. So if someone wants to do that, create a PR that adds the .all NuGet package to the CMS. This way, when you use a CMS story, you will have all the translations also with it. I think that's a good thing. It makes the packages and the deployment bigger, but that might be a good thing to be able to do that. And if you want to opt out of that, then just reference the core target and the themes you want and the languages you want, and it won't break anything from your app. Yes, exactly. If that's it, if you protect it from the tenant, then you don't see it. It's pretty fine for you. Okay, so for translations, I had another demo, but I want Jean-Philippe to do his instead. If you're ready, Jean-Philippe. Nope, not ready.
I don't know why the setup screen doesn't show the database selection.
Did you see the comment from Antoine?
Is it tenants? No, I deleted everything.
Everything. No app data. Okay, share your screen and we'll debug it with you.
It's sad because it was working yesterday.
No, maybe you found a bug, but we have unit functional testing with Puppeteer and just not Cypress, but so it's working. So we are pretty confident that it's not broken.
Okay, I just restarted again. Can I share it or?
Yes.
Is it...
There are like 20 experts on the call to fix your issue. So if we can't fix it, we have a problem.
Share screen.
So while you are sharing your screen, if you go to the .NET Conf site somewhere, Conf 2019, they have a website. There is a website under construction. No, now it's back up. Interesting. It was under construction a few seconds ago. Interesting. And there was a schedule a few minutes ago. Okay, where is that now? Check out this. Oh, maybe they updated the site to change completely how it looks like. And if you look for building modular multi-tenant ASP.NET Core apps with OrchardCore framework by Sebastian. I asked them to fix that, but that's okay. So yes, there will be a talk about OrchardCore, not the CMS, because nobody cares about CMSs. I think that's what I've been told. But the modular multi-tenant, yeah, it's interesting. So let's do that. So I'll talk about it. If you think Microsoft should care about CMSs, you should talk more in the community. Okay, we can see your screen. It's beautiful, VS Code. Nice icons, so you have the latest.
So there's nothing
version
here, but this is what I see. And then when I try to set it up.
No. I don't trust you. Go back to your file system. And what does it say if you try to set it up?
The what?
Okay, go back to the file. I want to see the app data folder. You showed me in VS Code, and I want to see the app data folder.
OrchardCore, source.
There are lots of things inside. Delete that. It's weird how you delete things, because I would just delete app data. Okay, done. And now this is OrchardCore, and now you start it.
Again?
Yeah. Also, if you complain that your application is slow, it's because you are doing that. Okay. .NET Run, the CS proj, will do a restore, a build, and a run. What you need to do is .NET space ./bin/debug/netcore app22/OrchardCore.CMS.Web.dll. You need to point to the DLL directly, and then it will be fast to start up. Because here, yes, you have to wait 15 seconds every time, if not more.
Yeah, more than that. So is it
.NET/bin type b ./bin ./bin.
I have to go into project, no?
Sorry, yeah. Core. I thought you were inside the. Yeah, usually I'm starting from the project itself. /bin tab the Orchard project OrchardCore.CMS .web.dl. Enter. Boom. Now you have a problem because you need to be in the, you need to be in the folder. That was fast, right?
Yeah, that one was fast. See, it's still going.
Wait. View source.
I don't know. It just happened when I set this up now. View source. Do you mean the source like this?
Yeah. Search for what? Database. So I should we do it for each database provider? You don't have any database provider. What have you done?
Nothing. I'm in latest dev. And I have these two commit, and I did. Okay, I add some data. Very weird. Nothing strange here. Anyway, I wanted to demo Cypress because I got it to work. I can explain what it does if you want.
Okay, and we'll see.
I won't be able to see it, but I can show a bit the code. It was very simple to do. So basically, I installed Cypress, the latest version, and set up a couple objects. So ignore Eno. It should be
But what is Cypress?
Oh, Cypress. Oh, not everyone knows what is Cypress.
I didn't know before I see your PR, so sorry.
Oh no, I've been using it for years.
Wait, stop, don't say anything. Who, before this meeting, knew what Cypress is? Antoine, 1. Who knew? Just Antoine? No, not the music. You see, nobody knew.
No.
And dude, I did the puppeteer thing, the jest, so I looked into things. I knew about Nightwatch, and I didn't know about Cypress. I'm like, what is Cypress?
Oh, no.
And then you showed the example. And what is funny is that there is, so it's like puppeteer and jest. It's like to do functional testing on using JavaScript, like we have today. And there is one thing that that made me think it's nice, because if you go to one of your tests, when you do a .click.
Okay, so one of the commands. So setup site is a command.
There is one, there is .click. I see here, there is .click. See, submit button .click. Now show the same thing in Puppeteer.
Puppeteer, I don't know.
Well, we have a functional test. No. You stay in the VS Code.
Yep.
You go in
test.
Functional, then you take the setup test, setup test.js. It's in the middle,
okay.
Here, and you look for the click also on the submit, whatever. Here you see, at the bottom. So first, you see, stop, line 80, 81, 82, 83, to click a button. And this was a huge bug actually that Jean-Thierry fixed a few months ago, but that was failing our CI so many times, is that when you click, it's an asynchronous event and you have to wait for the page to be ready if you say click, because when you say click, you can do stuff also. So if you don't wait for navigation also, then you will go on the next statement, line 85, before the page is set up. So it will say, no, it's not ready. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. So the test was super flaky on the CI. And Jean-Thierry fixed line 80, 81, 82 by adding the promise.all and wait for navigation, and click. So when you want to click, you have to do this thing, okay? Otherwise, you might not. It might, if it issues a server-side event, you have to wait for the page to be reloaded and see out. And also maybe the line 72, context text software as a service. How did you do that in Cypress? How did you select the recipe?
Recipe. Did this. So this one was a bit weird because sometimes it was there, sometimes it's not, depending on how you set up your tenant. So I made it use JavaScript. So this one is, you get the body, and then this becomes synchronous code here. You get the JavaScript object of the body, and here you just do a JavaScript lookup and set the val.
That's weird. And you can't click on something?
You could, yes, but I found this was easier for.
Okay.
For my
I don't
test.
find it easier. We need a helper maybe there. But you see this, the line 59, submit button.click. So some people complain about that it's all synchronous this way, but it's easier to write a test because you just say click and then.
And type. It's very easy to use.
Yeah. It was interesting. So it resonated to the issues we had when I saw that. Yeah, and I have a question about Cypress. So it's also with the thing we have today, we need to include Jest and Puppeteer because there are two things. Puppeteer will provide a Chrome extension, and Jest will provide a unit testing. Cypress comes with everything.
I think so. You just install npm install Cypress, and then I think they even have Docker images that come with the Chrome or Firefox pre-installed, and you can run it in a CI context that way. So you just run your test inside that Docker image against a deployed site, and yeah, it works really well.
Okay, and you have apparently some tooling to create the functional tests.
Yep. So you look at this here now. It won't really be able to demo it because the site is not up. But yeah, usually you see, oh, no, okay, so it failed because it couldn't set up.
Yeah, it fails, yeah, because there is a database. But we saw that running. And I also saw that there was some tooling to create the file by just navigating the site. And when you navigate, so can you start a new functional test from the setup? And when you click and you type stuff, it will record the steps?
I did not try that yet.
Because it's supposed to record. And I have a question about how do you define assertions then? Like you could say when I click, then now check that we have this text or that, you see?
This, I think I would have to log in a dashboard service. I just write it via code. Oh no, it's in this tool. Wait. Sorry. It was in here. There's a selector, this guy. And when you actually go and select an element, it will give you the line, and you can copy to clipboard, paste it in your solution. It's too bad I couldn't set up the site. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But yeah, so I created like this because these need to be run in sequence, and in Cypress there's no easy way to do that other than using file names. So if I had two its here, they could potentially run in the wrong order. You know what I mean? So if I don't have the site set up, then.
But I think in Puppeteer what we did, I did a method called setup site, and so each file of the functional test will say setup site.
Also, you start fresh every time.
Well, not every time, but if you look at the files, we might see. I try not to start fresh every time. Setup test. This is setting up. So yeah, there is a setup test. That but how do I know that this one runs before the other one? Or maybe that's just this functional test we have that will do sequentially, setting up a main tenant and then testing that it works, and then setting up a new tenant on the same website and then checking that the other recipe works, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe we
So
could.
that's
I see what you say. Is, yeah, I think it's the same thing. It's based on the name of the file that we will run in order. So we have one file that will set up a tenant for test, and then all the other ones will check on this tenant. I see.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just a different way to write it, but I find it so clean, right?
Yeah, it's the same.
Here, create tenant, go to tenant setup site, and I tested on my local site that I'm building, and yeah, it works well. I could run recipes and do other actions that are in the admin.
Yeah, what I find interesting is being able to record a test, because then we could ask more people to record features for each module and then ensure that they work then. So we could imagine that every module has a file like this and we could run them all.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
One thing I found though is there was some stuff that was hard to target. Like this one, I created I added that data attribute.
I hate that. Why did you create a data attribute instead of giving it an ID on the button?
I don't know. It's just I'm used to doing it this way.
Yeah, but you are changing your HTML just to insert something that you can give it an ID, and this way, I mean, it makes sense to have an ID on the thing that has to be selectable instead of having the attribute with the name of the tester tool.
So my only concern with that is that I did a lot of React before, and it was a big no-no to put IDs in reusable component, because then you'd have invalid markup.
Yeah.
So when we want to like go into a specific scope and then do actions underneath for a bunch of list item, for example, you want to click a button on the first item, the same button on the second. It's easier with data attribute or a class, right?
Okay.
So
give it a class or something that is not linked.
You don't like the data?
Yeah, data-ci. That's the -ci that bothers me.
I use test ID in my other, and then have something that would strip that out.
But then will you remove the request URL or will you add the test ID also to the request URL prefix because we have an ID? No, we have an ID, you see? Yeah, if it's a component, yes, if it's a component and you can have many on the page, yes. But here it's just a raw page with a single button on it. Like, it can have an ID, it's unique. It's not a component, a reusable component.
Yeah, so I guess we should come up with like a standard way of...
And I agree with you, because in widgets, in the editor, yes, we don't use IDs because we can't. We have to make them multiple times. So we use data attributes, but when the component is a single thing, like it's a page, it's not a component, it's a page. So on the page, find the thing that is a submit button. So you can have an ID on that. It will be better than just something that's just for the test, because then the ID can be used for CSS and
yeah. If we can come up, I'm interested in writing a bunch of these and just starting it up. If you guys are interested in having that type of test,
try to start the test we have already in Puppeteer. Do the same thing so we can compare.
Okay.
Just this one, because the MVC test and NC test you don't care right now. Just to see how it looks like and how you set up the site and how you build the thing.
Yeah, I have everything there already.
Yeah.
It's just a bit cleaner code, I guess.
I will see in the PR if it's cleaner. And in the CI output, it should also appear, so that will be good. Because it has to work on the CI, because this one, you see there is a test run test setup that will build OrchardCore, deploy it, and then we'll run on a deployment of that. Well, actually, just build it. You see here bin/release netcore up to 2. So
yeah. So it runs at localhost?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so you do it all on one machine. Okay, makes sense.
And the CI does that. So this thing just starts the app when it's built, and then we start the unit test on the local app on the CI.
Clean up data. Nice. Oh, cool. Yeah, I wanted to do that for my apps. Why not do it in this?
You can reuse this code if you want, because some of it is not linked to Puppeteer or Jest. It's just starting a thread well,
Yeah.
a command app, you
Yeah.
see, to start the site. So you can reuse that if you want. It's custom
Yeah, probably
npm.
reuse it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Well,
thank you. Looks good.
Sorry for.
So next week we'll have localization set, maybe.
Yeah, if I can fix this problem, I don't
Okay.
understand what's going on.
You'll find it. You'll find. Maybe you introduce a bug. I don't know. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any questions? Yeah. Okay. If you have questions, otherwise we'll be done. I do the demo another day, if it makes sense. Good. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday. And I should merge Netcore 3 very soon. I will check with Jean-Thierry if he's okay with that, and I will merge it. I just asked him if we needed the caching PR to be merged first, and if he's fine with that not being done, then I will merge 3.0 right after I have pinned the version on Widgets, so anyone can still point to two versions. Thanks everyone. See you on Thursday. Bye bye.
See ya. Bye bye.